Welcome to today's lesson, which is about distance on the coordinate plane. The goal of today's lesson is that you can use the Pythagorean theorem to calculate the distance between 2 points on the coordinate plane. And just to recall, as we will be using the Pythagorean theorem, when you have a right triangle with a right angle here and two legs A and B and a hypotenuse C, a squared plus b squared equals c squared, and we can use this, the Pythagorean theorem, to calculate the length of lines on right triangles. So here we have a right triangle. We've got a horizontal line and a vertical line, and where they intersect, that's a right angle. So I'm going to label them A, B and C, the three sides, and I'm going to calculate the length of C. I can count the lengths of A and B. So A is 3 units long, 1, 2, 3, and B is 4 units long. I'm going to use the Pythagorean theorem, A squared plus B squared equals C squared. I have the measure of the two legs, 3 squared and 4 squared, and I need to find the length of the hypotenuse. So 3 squared is 9, 4 squared is 16, c squared is 25. So now I will get the square root of both sides, square root of c squared and the square root of 25. And the square root of c squared, the square root and the square cancel each other out. I'm left with c equals the square root of 25, which is 5. So here is a diagonal line, and we are not given the other two sides of the triangle. So we need to draw them. And now I have a right triangle here, and the length of this horizontal line is 4 units. I'm going to call that A, is 4 units. The vertical line, I'm going to call it B, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 units long. And I'm going to use the Pythagorean theorem. I always write it out, A squared plus B squared equals C squared. Oh, I forgot to label C on the triangle. Okay, so 4 squared plus 6 squared equals C squared. Because I have the two legs, I'm calculating the hypotenuse. So 16 plus 36 is C squared. 16 plus 36 is 52, is C squared. And I'm going to get the square root of both sides. And I used the Desmos scientific calculator. You see the URL here at the bottom of the screen. And I used this symbol here to find the square root of 52. And I got 7.21. I'm going to round it. So I'm going to say C equals 7.21. .21 units. Sometimes the diagonal line crosses into several quadrants of the coordinate plane. We just use the same process. We need to create a horizontal line and a vertical line around this diagonal line. This time I'm going to go up here and across here. And this is my hypotenuse, which is C, and I'm just going to label these A and B. And each of these is 8 units long, each of the two legs. So now I'm going to use the Pythagorean theorem, A squared plus B squared equals C squared. I don't have C, I have A and B, so I have 8 squared plus 8 squared equal to C squared. 64 plus 64 c squared. That's 128 is equal to c squared. So I need to get the square root of both of these, and I get c equals, and I used the Desmos scientific calculator. I'm going to round to the nearest hundredth, 11.31 units. So to calculate the length of a diagonal line, draw two lines around it to create a right triangle with the diagonal line as the hypotenuse. Let's go back and look at that. We have our diagonal line here. I created a horizontal line and a vertical line to create a right triangle. Find the lengths of the straight lines and then use the Pythagorean theorem to calculate the length of the diagonal line, which is the hypotenuse. So you saw today how to use the Pythagorean theorem to calculate the distance between 2 points on the coordinate plane. And that's the end of today's lesson.